Happy Worldwide Knit in Public Day, or as I like to call it, Happy Worldwide Stitch in Public Day, because then that way it's more inclusive, includes crocheters and other stitchers like cross stitch, quilting, that kind of a thing. And this year in particular, where I'm located in the United States, and we have the pleasure of on the same day as Stitch in Public Day are these protests coming out against Donald Trump, called the No Kings protest. There are also, I think, other protests going around in different cities across the US, but their message is basically the same thing. We are coming out against all of these harmful um, actions that the Trump administration is taking. And as you guys know, I am autistic and ADHD, so I I'm unable to participate in in-person protests just because of my specific needs with autism. Not all autistic people are this way. Like, I'm sure there are plenty of autistic people out there who are participating in these protests in person. And so I just want to send a message to everyone out there who is protesting in person. Thank you so much for doing that. I wish I could join you. I wish I could be part of it. I'm there with you in spirit, but thank you so much for protesting. And I'm hoping that for people who are not able to protest in person, we can also come together virtually and, you know, express ourselves as well as coming out against these harmful actions um, that's being done to our neighbors, friends, family, coworkers. Um, it's kind of a scary time right now. I'm not gonna lie. I'm also not trying to like scare anyone or fearmonger, but something has changed to where, you know, I don't even know. Something's changed and we need to do more. So, but on that note, I do want to just talk about a few things. So, I am really big on craftivism. I'm learning a lot about it. I'm right now with the rest of the NeuroStitches uh, Discord server group. We are reading um, Let's Move the Needle, an activism handbook for artists, crafters, creatives, and makers. And it's by Shannon Downey, also known as the Badass Cross Stitch. And it's a fantastic book. We are reading, we're doing kind of like a book club, but it's very casual kind of thing for this book. We're reading the first half of the book and then meeting to discuss it um, in at the end of this month, June, and then at the end of July, Shannon Downey, the badass cross stitch, is going to be joining us for our book club discussion to talk about the second half of the book. Shannon reached out and offered to join us at one of our discussion groups, and I'm so thrilled because I admire her work so much. I feel like we all have a lot to learn from her. And yeah, I'm really excited. And it was just so lovely of her to offer to do that for us because, as you all know, neurodivergent people tend to not be able to, well, not tend to, but a lot of us can't attend in person events. And so when someone offers to do something like this for us, it's amazing because it makes us feel included and like we're also, you know, worthy of meeting with and talking to. So I just really I love that. It was very nice of Shannon to do that, and we're all looking forward to it. So um this is a great book so far. I'm still reading it. I would recommend, checking your local library, or if you want to support Shannon, I believe you can purchase it off of bookshop.org, which helps your chosen local independently owned bookstore. So that way we can avoid supporting Amazon and also help out some local to you bookstores. So you can actually choose which bookstore you want to support. So I think I have mine set up to benefit Sassafras on Sutton. It's a small local bookstore in Black Mountain, which is just outside of Asheville, North Carolina. So I have a lot of favorite local bookstores. So I try to like rotate between the two of them. Actually, there's more than two, but yeah. So I'm very excited about this book. And if you're interested in joining us for this discussion, it's completely free. You can just sign up on the NeuroStitches website, and I'll have all the links listed down below so that you can access the links. And yeah, so the next thing that so on the craftivism front, so after starting, I read the introduction to the book and I was just like feeling really inspired. And I just started crocheting, like free form kind of thing. And I made this sign. I'm not sure if it's going to be backwards for you guys, but it says autistic AF as and I think so. I kind of just have it as like a little banner right now, but I think I'm going to maybe turn it into a sweater or something. I'm not sure. I think I'm going to just freehand it, let the inspirations strike, and yeah, or maybe I'll make a big sign out of it. I'm not sure, but this is what I've got so far, and I really love it. So I am very interested in this form of crafting and expression. And it feels like it allows me to engage in protests, even though I'm unable to attend them in person. So that's what I love so much about craftivism. I think some people see craftivism as like a luxury or like as part of your privilege. Um, and I'm not disagreeing with that. But for me and for there are other disabled people out there where that is the form of protest that's available to us. A lot of protests in particular in person, even if they're peaceful protests, it's extremely like for me as an autistic person, the sensory overload. I mean, it's too much. There's a lot of people. A lot of times you're squished together and you feel like you can't get out and escape. And it's very loud. Um, People are really angry and you can feel that and stuff. And again, I'm also angry too. Um, but it's just frustrating because I really do want to be out there, but I know that it would be really detrimental for me if I were to attend one of these, just because of my unique autistic um, needs and stuff. Everybody on this, it's a spectrum, so everybody's different. Um, but I do wish I could be out there protesting peacefully with everyone, but um, I'm hoping that I can at least provide a space for others who aren't able to attend in person. So, yeah, so this is what I'm working on right now. It's just kind of like a freehand, off the cuff thing. So I'm excited to see what this turns into. This is scrap yarn that I had in my stash and that I was using. I believe this is hand dyed Diva, which I believe they are now called Wool Tribe yarn. I think they either like merged or Wool Tribe bought Hand Dyed Diva. I'm not entirely sure, but it was some that I had in my stash. It was one of those like one skein, like one-off skeins that I bought at like a yarn crawl or a yarn event. So and then this gorgeous hot pink. It's not coming across, it's coming across a lot lighter pink than it is in person. In person, it's a very hot pink. It's looking a lot lighter in the camera, but I love this hot pink, and I can't find it anymore. It was by Lavender Loon yarn, an indie yarn dyer, and it was called, I believe, 80s Cowgirl Pink. Um, I think, but I love it. It's a great pink, and it's not coming up as easy, but I do have a picture on my Instagram of this that I think is more color accurate. So you can check it out there. But yeah, so I'm excited to see what this becomes. I'm not sure yet, but inspiration will strike. So today, what am I working on for Stitch in Public Day? I've got a couple things in the works. See, that's the thing with me is I always have a couple whips going depending on my mood and like the project. So I'm working on knitting. Well, the Getty Tee by Tanis Fiber Arts is a both a crochet and knit um, t-shirt pattern, and I already did the granny squares that are the granny squares act as the saddle shoulders, and so I'm almost done with the length of it, but I think I need to add another skein. I ended up using, I think, a lot more yarn than I thought I would, so I need to go and pick up another skein just to make sure that I've got enough. And then the other thing that I'm working on is this is so it's really funny because I have been on a mission in 2025 to try and use to pick out my pattern or project first and then purchase the yarn for it. That way it helps my stash become a little more like in control. Um and that way I'm not just having like all these single one-off skeins. And what I bought this yarn, I bought 4 skeins of this. This is the it's by the Wandering Flock, the Baby Paca base, and it is in the color Moonstone. Again, it's not really that color accurate here in the camera. Um, but I bought 4 skeins of this. I was gonna make one project with it, and it didn't end up like turning out. I changed my mind. Wasn't the yarn or the pattern's fault. It was just I changed my mind. And so I started using it for Tony Lipsy TL Yarn Crafts hexagranny cardigan pattern. And I, of course, I lost the game of Yarn Chicken. And so I had to put this in hibernation for a bit, or as I like to call it, on ice. Although everyone in the NeuroStitches Discord, they told me that when I say on ice, it sounds like I don't know if I can talk about that on YouTube, but it's like an old saying that means something else, like to I think to harm someone. But so I'm gonna try and stick with hibernation mode. But so I had this in hibernation mode because the Wandering Flock was sold out of the Baby Paca and Moonstone. And this is how dedicated I was, okay? So the Wandering Flock was sold out on their website. And I had actually bought it from Black Mountain Yarn Shop, which is one of my local yarn shops here near Asheville. And they were out as well. So I started looking at the Wandering Flock's website, their list of vendors, so who keeps them in stock. And I went through like the list of vendors in the United States and was just checking their website and I couldn't find any. And so I was just like, well, I'm just gonna have to wait for it to come back in stock. So a couple months later, I got a notification because luckily the Wandering Flock has that feature on their website where you can say, notify me when this item is back in stock. So I got an email notification and I instantly ordered it so I can finish this. So I just got the yarn and the mail yesterday. Yeah. And so I'm right back to working on the Hexa Granny cardigan here. So yeah, it's a lovely it's like purple, pink, periwinkle, and like icy white. Um it's a really beautiful colorway. I'm obsessed with the Wandering Flock and all the colors there. So the Getty tea is hibernating briefly while I try and find um I need to pick up another skein of the millennial pink. But I'm also working on, and if you follow me on Instagram, you'll have seen this. This is the Melbourne shawl pattern by Eddie, or I'm so sorry, Edie Ekman. And this yarn is also the baby Paka from the Wandering Flock. And I don't know if you can tell in the camera here, but it's got this really beautiful color. Wait, these two colors here, so the light purple and this very dark, almost bluish purple. Um, I think that they were kind of dyed. They're like sister skeins. Is that a thing? I don't even know if that's a thing. I just made it up. But you can there are hints of the light purple in the dark purple colorway and vice versa. So they go really well together. And then this colorway, I believe, is Tutti Frutti. And as you can see, there are hints of the dark purple and the light purple speckled throughout here. So um, I love this. And I'm almost done with that, but it's not a good stitch in public project because it requires me to think. Whereas I've reached, the Hexa Granny right now and the Getty Tea, I'm on like the mindless part. So it's like continuously knitting in the round, and then the Hexa Granny, I am just doing the granny stitch back and forth, widening like the body and the collar. So um here is my crochet hook. So even though I do now know how I know how to knit, I am going to be crocheting on Stitch in Public Day because this is I'm a crocheter first and foremost. I love knitting. I really love knitting actually. It has really grown on me since I've improved and stuff. So I really do love knitting, but I also love crochet. I don't understand the people that get into these weird like competitions between the two, because I think they're both wonderful for very different reasons. And one of my favorite things is to do like swatches of hand dyed yarn in both knit and crochet, just because I love to see like knit and crochet, their stitches are structurally different. So they bring out different colors within the yarn. And I just love that. There are some hand dyed yarns where once I make a swatch, I'm like, oh, I think that this would be better in stockinette stitch or garter stitch, or some of them I'm like, this was made for crochet. This is gonna look gorgeous in a crochet stitch. And actually, on that note, here is my latest one. My latest yarn acquisition. Again, if you follow me on Instagram, you might have already seen. I posted about when I caked up this yarn, but this is it's so cool. It's really hard to capture the colors here. But this is by Dye Mad Yarns. They are on the autistic owned business directory on the NeuroStitches website. They're awesome. I love them. I wish I lived closer because they have a storefront where you can also go in and shop. They're not just like online or wholesale only. So I have been working on some swatches just to show and illustrate the difference in how hand-dyed yarn can look based off the type of stitch that you're doing. I haven't made it to the knit swatches yet, but here are a few half finished. I have to do the invisible finish here. So they're not quite done yet, but ah, man, this camera really doesn't like pick up on the color that well. But like here's a sunburst granny square compared to a traditional. So it's really interesting to see the differences in how they work up. Like this one, so this granny square is where I turn after each round. Let me just and then this granny square here is where I don't turn after every round. I just keep going on the same side. And there are pros and cons to doing each one. The when you turn after each round, you're going to get very straight square edges. With the front way version, it's going to be a little slanted and like the stitches like right here, you can kind of tell it indents and like leans. So just depending on the project that you're working on, sometimes I stay on one side and then other times I turn after each round. So I plan on doing a stockinette swatch with this yarn and then the metered square. So stay tuned for those swatches. And oh, while I'm talking about dye mad yarns, here is the other two colors that I got. This I'm obsessed with it. Now you may think that this is going to be the same as this colorway. This colorway is also called You Have Beautiful Eyes, and it's on the Chester sock base. And that's both of these here that I'm showing you are also on their Chester sock base. And this colorway is called Suncatcher. And I am obsessed with this because it's very rainbow like. And I looked at some projects on Ravelry that use this colorway and I loved it because it does look like a sun catcher and almost like when it's worked up, and it really reminds me of almost like stained glass and stuff when the light hits it. So perfectly named, and I love this. I'm very excited to use this one as well. And then if you know me, you know I love pink and purple, and I love when pink and purple are used together. And so this colorway is called Gay Feather. And I really love it because I don't know if you're going to be able to pick it up here, but it's very tonal base. So it's got like a darker purple than with lighter shades of like pink. And then on top of that, it's got these lovely speckles. And there's a hint of green speckles. Here we go. Here's some of the green speckles. And I love this colorway. I may have to end up making a sweater out of this, but these are the 3 skeins that I got. And I know I just was talking about how I'm trying to purchase yarn after I pick out my project or pattern. So, like, what am I doing with 3 randomly colored skeins? Well, I do have a plan, I promise. I am currently working on, and for those of you who may not know, I'm a new crochet pattern designer. So I don't have very many designs out yet, but I am working on 2 new crochet patterns simultaneously. They are going to be coming out separately, but I'm probably going to end up getting done with them around the same time because they're kind of related. One is a scarf that I've posted about on Instagram. It's called the Triple Threat Scarf, and it is incorporating regular traditional crochet, Tunisian crochet, and knitting. And I'm really excited about that because I love any project or pattern that unites the crafts. I just love that. I think it's really cool for all of us to come together and work on something new. So, and I thought it would be kind of fun, like triple threat, like challenge and scarf, and it doesn't use very much yarn. And the pattern itself may seem simple, but it actually took a long time to figure out like what dimensions and the hook and needle sizes that I needed. And because individual stitches, so like knitting, Tunisian crochet, and regular crochet stitches, one stitch does not equal one stitch. They're like physical size. So, like the Tunisian crochet stitches were much bigger. So it requires fewer stitches to get the overall same dimensions. And the key with the triple threat scarf will be blocking. I know that a lot of people don't like blocking and stuff, but when you're making modular squares, I say it like that to include the knitters as well, like for mitered squares. But granny squares, blocking really does make a difference, and it just takes your work up a notch. I mean, it looks incredible, and it also makes, this is one thing I think is underestimated by people, is when you block like your granny squares and then you want to join them, if you block them, it makes joining them so much easier. It really does because it opens up the stitches a little bit better and like clearly defines the stitches and where you should, if you're using a crochet hook, to join as you go, or just a tapestry needle to like mattress stitch them together. It really makes a big difference on on joining them. So it's not just like an aesthetic thing, it's also about like making the process a little bit easier for yourself as well. So excuse me. Um and so that'll be my next pattern that comes out. It's it's taking me a long time to write it. I mean, I have it written out, but I wanted to make this pattern very, very beginner friendly so that anyone who um like who's a crocheter but has never knit before can make the knit squares. So I'm making, and as with all my patterns, because I'm neurodivergent and I'm a very visual learner, I love video tutorials. And so all my patterns have video tutorials. So I want to make sure that this is a project that someone with no experience can do and try it out. And that goes for also the second pattern that I'm working on. And that's where this yarn comes into play. So I'm actually working on a pattern that is I'm calling um this kind of came about as a happy accident, but um through the autistic owned business directory, I have been reaching out and connecting with other autistic professionals and business owners in the fiber arts industry. And I'm like slowly but surely getting a skein of yarn from each of them. And I'm making a pattern that is for basically Advent countdowns. So yarn Advents. And it's going to be called the Audvent, AUDVENT. So it will be a blanket pattern for people to use for Advent, their Advent packages and stuff. And so the sample that I'm working up is going to be made completely of hand dyed yarn from autistic business owners. and dyers. So that's why I've decided to call it the Advent. So I'm very excited about that. And that's where these fun random colorways come in. Although I think the gay feather color I'm going to use for something else. But the other two, I'm trying to get like rainbow, bright and unique colors from each dyer. And then that way it's just this, I hope it is just this obnoxious prism of color um, that celebrates um, the autistic and neurodivergent crafters in our community. So I'm very excited about both of those patterns, but that's why you haven't seen any new patterns from me recently, is I've been working on that. And both of those, again, I'm trying to make very beginner friendly. So it's taking a lot of time um, behind the scenes. So I am getting there, I promise. It's just been taking me a lot longer than usual, also because of the state of the world. Um, I like many people, I feel like, and especially a lot of small business owners. Here, let me so you guys can see my crochet. Um, it it's been tough for everybody out here in the states. Um, it does feel like we are living in unprecedented times, and it's been hard to try, and I just feel icky trying to sell my crochet patterns when there's so much serious things going on in the world. So I've been struggling a little bit with that. And I know that's not unique to me. I know other people have been struggling with that, but I just say that here too, to let you know, like, if you're feeling that way, you're not alone. It's it's tough right now, to put it mildly. But at the end of the day, I'm really just hoping for um all of us to come together and make a change of solidarity and love and compassion. And you know, we'll see. I'm not sure how the in-person protests are going. I haven't had the news on for actually since early this morning. So I'm curious to see how all of that is going with everyone. And again, if you have any questions for me, please feel free to post them in the chat. I'm down to chat about anything. That's one of the great things about, well, I will say, like, knitting in public. The idea behind it is that you get people who maybe aren't knitters or crocheters or stitchers, and they come up and they ask you about what you're working on. And I love that, because it's funny, because I think a lot of people would assume, oh, I'm autistic, so I wouldn't like that. And I mean, don't get me wrong, like, sometimes I'm in, like, fight or flight mode, and I'm not in a good headspace, but overall, I actually like that, because it gives me something to chat about with someone. Um, like, it's like, so when you ask an autistic person about their special interest, that's that we love to talk about our special interests and stuff. So, um, yeah, I love chatting with people. And I honestly, I end up sounding like some sort of yarn missionary trying to, like, convert people who don't stitch. I'm always like, it's so good for your mental health, like, you've got to start stitching. Like, I sound like a high pressure, like, salesperson. So but yeah, so I like crocheting and stitching in public, not just because it gives me something to chat comfortably with someone who I may not know, but also because it helps keep me grounded. I've talked about this a lot, but it's something that I think is really important, is that stitching So for me, I'm a crocheter and knitter, but other people who weave or spin yarn, quilt, cross stitch, that kind of a thing, it can also apply to those as well. But for me, I'm a crocheter and knitter. And when I crochet and knit, it is a form of stimming for me. So neurodivergent people often, if you hear the term stimming, that just means they are repetitive movements that help you regulate your nervous system. So, like this can look like nail biting, hair twirling, rocking, or swaying, and like shaking your leg, fidget toys and stuff like that. That's all stimming. And crochet and knitting or stitching in general are repetitive movements, and they really help to regulate my nervous system. And in fact, so for those of you who don't know, I'm late diagnosed autistic and ADHD. I was not diagnosed until I was 31. And so I didn't even know this at the time, but I learned to crochet when I was a kid, picked it up and down all throughout the years, started seriously crocheting in law school. And now I know it's because I was so stressed. And so I was stimming. It was a form of stimming for me. And it's funny because at the time I had no idea that I was autistic. And when I would get really stressed or anxious, my husband would ask me, like, do you need to go and stress crochet? And it's just funny because now we know, like, that was me stimming. And it it really does help me in times of stress, and just kind of helps keep me grounded as well. So it keeps you in the present moment, and a lot of things contribute to that too. The texture and the feel of your project and the yarn. And then also sometimes, I mean, sometimes some yarn is scented. So like it can be like there's an overall sensory experience with it. Um Not all yarn is scented though. The one that I'm thinking of um is Ruby and Roses. Addie's yarn, it smells amazing. Like, she uses, a special wool wash with her yarn, and it smells so good, and, like, it also like, it doesn't fade, the scent doesn't, and it doesn't, but it's not overwhelmingly strong or anything. It's lovely. I've asked her to please start selling the wool wash because I just want all my crochet and knit projects to smell like that. So hopefully one day Addie will add that to her shop. So um but yeah, so it's a very grounding and calming experience. And it's a really important stem for a lot of autistic and generally neurodivergent people. So um I have no idea where I was going with that, honestly. But that's why it's so important for me. And it really does benefit my mental health. And there are several studies on the benefits that not just knitting and crochet, but handcrafting things in general. I'm reading I haven't finished this book. I've it's paused right now, but it's called right here. Oh god. It's called Craft Psychology by Dr. Ann. I know I'm probably saying this wrong, so I do apologize, but it's Dr. Ann Kirketerp. I don't know. Um, but it's this is the English translated version. There is a version that I believe it was originally published. I think it was in Danish, maybe. Let me see if it says. But this is the English translated version, And I do need to finish this. It's just I've got so many other projects going on right now. But one of the things that I do like is that she did talk about neurodiversity, like in terms of with ADHD and stitching. So I am excited to read more about that. And I know that there are a lot more studies going on about looking at the relationship between neurodiversity and knitting and crochet or stitching. And I've had some people who are like graduate students or other people who have reached out to me asking me about it and my perspective on it, because I run a group of it's a online community, like peer support of neurodivergent people, and we are fiber artists and enthusiasts. So um I'm excited to see more studies about the correlation and everything between that. Um, I think it's a long overdue question, so I'm very excited to see the results of those studies. Um, but yeah, it's so far it's uh been a good day here in Asheville. It's very beautiful. It's very hot. Um, So I know that some people were worried about the weather for the protests today, but it looks like Asheville is all good. So uh, best of luck, and a big thank you to all the people who are protesting in person today. But I so we've got about 15 minutes left, and I do just want to talk briefly about NeuroStitches, and what NeuroStitches offers and everything. So we NeuroStitches is an online community hosted so on Discord. So we're on Discord. We have a Discord server. And it's basically we have a whole bunch of different things. We have peer support groups, we have stitch night, knit nights, stitch and bitch, whatever you want to call it, crafternoons. And then we also have body doubling opportunities. And if you're not sure what body doubling is, it just basically means that you are engaging in the same or similar activities as someone else, but like quietly. And the idea behind it is that it helps some people, specifically with ADHD, accomplish tasks and get work done. The best way that I can describe it is, like, for example, in school, sometimes I would want to have on a movie or TV show about the subject matter that I was studying. And that's not a, like a perfect example of body doubling, but it's like the idea behind it. Like I watch that and then I get in the mood for that subject or for that task. Same goes with cleaning and stuff. So sometimes I will watch cleaning videos on YouTube or TikTok, and it will help me um clean the house and stuff, or do some chores. It's that same kind of concept. And I believe, and again, I am not a mental health professional in any way. I'm a federal tax attorney, so take this with a grain of salt. But I believe it is similar to the concept of parallel play that we see talked about a lot with well, it's talked about a lot for autistic children, but it's still relevant for autistic adults. And it's just this idea that you like the person's presence, like the other person's presence in the room with you, but you just want to quietly be doing your own thing. And so, like, a really good example of this is my husband and I, he is a gamer. I'm not. So, a lot of times, and most evenings, you'll find us doing this. We'll be sitting on the couch together. He'll be playing his Xbox, and I will be knitting or crocheting while I have something playing on my laptop. And that is a really great way for autistic people to bond and spend time with their loved ones. Because we're there, we're spending time together, but we also don't have to be like talking the whole time and stuff. So we have those kind of opportunities within the NeuroStitches Discord server. And I also just want to emphasize the fact that um, NeuroStitches is completely free to join and access all of the resources and the meetings. We operate on a pay what you can model. So through our the Ko-fi page. So NeuroStitches has a Ko-fi page, and we really rely on individual contributions to keep NeuroStitches operating on a free basis and open to everyone. So um, the links for all of this will be down in the description below as well. And all these links, all the links and everything that I've referenced can always be found on the NeuroStitches website. So there is just like one place that you can go and find everything. Um, so NeuroStitches is a community first and foremost, hosted on Discord, but then also I design crochet patterns as Liv Scott of NeuroStitches, so under the NeuroStitches heading, in an effort to help support our community. So I do design crochet patterns. I guess technically it will be knit patterns, but I do not want to. I am not holding myself out as a knitwear designer in any way. It's going to be mitered squares. So, um, yeah. So I design crochet patterns under the NeuroStitches name. I'll also attend, sometimes I'll sell my finished crochet makes at a market, just to, again, help sustain the NeuroStitches community. And then finally, we have NeuroStitches. You've most likely found us on Instagram, but I am focusing more and more on YouTube. I'm really wanting to get away from Instagram. I don't want anything to do with Zuckerberg or Meta or any of it. I don't want anything to do with it. Unfortunately, that's where most of my followers are. So I am going to be consciously trying to fade out Instagram completely. And so you'll be able to find, well, you're able to find NeuroStitches on Instagram now, but you'll be able to find NeuroStitches on YouTube, Pinterest, Blue Sky, and then obviously Discord. So, yeah, so our main areas of focus of NeuroStitches, the Discord server slash community, and then crochet patterns and YouTube. Those are the big three. So, yeah, stay tuned, subscribe to the channel. I talk about all things neurodiversity, fiber arts, craftivism, all of that stuff. So, I'm very excited. And if you're interested, if you're neurodivergent, and you're interested in joining NeuroStitches, you can sign up for free with just your name and email address on the NeuroStitches website. So if you just go to www.neurostitches.com, scroll all the way to the bottom, you'll see a little sign up box for your name and your email address. And once you submit that, you'll get a link to join our Discord server. And I want to emphasize the fact you do not have to be remotely good at stitching or anything. You can be a complete beginner and join NeuroStitches. So we would love to have you. We have dedicated channels for beginners to ask questions and stuff. So I hope you'll join us. And I had a great time just kind of hanging out and chatting and giving you all an update on what's going on with NeuroStitches and everything. And I'm wishing you a happy Stitch in Public Day. I am going to be returning to the NeuroStitches Discord channel later this afternoon to continue the Stitch in Public Day celebration. So we have a channel where people can just hop on, and it's basically like a Zoom call. And we're all going to be just stitching together. So that's our version. That's the neurodivergent and introverted friendly versions of Stitch and Public Day. So yeah, I'm going to take a little bit of a break and I'll be on there at 3 p.m. So I really hope you can join us, or if you're interested in signing up for NeuroStitches, you can do that as well. Thank you so much for joining me, and thank you to everyone who did participate in the protests in whatever way, shape, or form that you did today. And yeah, I hope you have a good rest of your day. So, bye.